significant period of time. This year, the Mary Elizabeth Newell Loyalty Award is presented to Richard Fox. Richard is a poet who is often referred to as the glue that has kept many classmates from the 1970s together. He believes that art is enriched by community. Richard found a community he loves at Webster, where he saw a deep passion for learning and art and an ethos for compassion and tolerance. Let's turn to the screen and learn a little bit more about Richard.
When Richard Fox chose Webster, he found a second home. As soon as he arrived on campus in the early 1970s, Richard immersed himself in the lively art scene. He found himself surrounded by others who shared his deep passion for learning and the arts. Richard believes art is enriched by community, and as an up-and-coming young poet, Webster's culture helped him thrive. Through the decades after graduation, Richard kept his classmates together. In more recent years, Richard used the web, social media, and email to develop a digital community. A self-proclaimed technological geek, Richard hosted a Zoom during the pandemic, managed a Facebook group, list bot, and email chain, all dedicated to his 1970s class. Richard and his Webster community share life events, accomplishments, and joy. And sometimes they share their hardships. The loyalty to each other became even more clear following Richard's cancer diagnosis. He had classmates from all over the country coming to visit him, making the trip from Florida and Michigan, to just name a few. Richard says his love for Webster is unending, and he has written poetry that often paid homage to his Webster community. This past summer, his Webster friends participated in a Richard Fox tribute reading honoring his art.
Hike Mount Wachusett, sunbathe on Summit.
This is a really special night, and I love you all, and love you all.
Richard's dedication to creating a long-lasting bond among his Webster family is his legacy, his way of honoring home.
Accepting the award on Richard's behalf are three of his lifelong friends and devoted Webster classmates, Eve Colson, Rosie Hooper Hammersley, and Janie Iber. Please join me on stage.
These aren't my notes, actually. I think of it as kind of a sacred document. I'm really so glad that Richard got this award at this time. And I know I visited him about 6 weeks ago. Rosie and I were together. And he was just so appreciative that he had gotten this award. It means a lot. So you know how sometimes you just find something just at the right moment? I was actually going through one of the many boxes all over my house, papers and different things that I really need to get rid of or at least organize. And I found this piece of paper. And I don't know why I kept it, but I'm glad I did. And it is 26 years old. It's dated, this is a copy of an email from 1997. I printed it out. And it says, I probably still do that once in a while. It says, "Hi Eve, do you remember me from Webster College? I started in the fall of '70, went for 2 years, 2.5 years, took a couple of years off and graduated in '76. I got your email address from John Weiss. John's trying to put together a snail mail directory of the early '70s Webster folk. I've been collecting email addresses with 2 goals. One, a directory, and the second, I have a group of people, old friends, who we all write as a group with 14 CCs. Some notes we keep adding to and recirculate, others we start new. We add people as time goes on. I'd love to put together a similar Webster group. Are you interested?" Anyway, you saw some of the iterations of that, but I mean, 26 years ago, and anyway, I'm just so glad that he's been part of our lives. And I'm gonna turn over the next part to Rosie.
Well, I can't read that, so. This afternoon, Janie and her beloved Sandra and I had lunch together, and Sandra took a photograph of Janie and me, and we sent it to Richard, and he wrote back 2 words, and he said, "Pure grace." Richard Fox is a man of grace. And in lo these many years, it is one of his oft repeated words. And he uses it about his family and his friends, and for the young kids in Alateen, that he guided. And it is the thing that describes him above all. There are a host of things that I adore about Richard, not the least of which is hip-checking him at Webster reunion dances. I'm very good at that. But it is his heart above all. Richard has a beautiful and a generous heart. And I say that not just on my behalf, but I think on behalf of all of those of you who know him and love him. And I thank you for honoring him tonight. That is an act of grace.
Hello. It is an honor and a privilege to stand up for you, Richard. I cannot remember a time when you were not my brother in poetry, as I have been your sister in poetry. Richard has an amazing light, and I want to thank you, Richard, for shining it on us. And also thank Webster University for shining your light on Richard, our astounding and amazing friend. We proudly accept this award on his behalf.
Thank you. Thank you.